Burn them bow down, making Dylan heat drum. But the bow wow. Teach me how to Dougie.
I don't know.
Teach me how to Dougie. Teach nobody. They don't explain how to Dougie in the fucking song.
Oh, really?
I don't think so.
I've never Dougied before. I've done the cha-cha slide and the what's the other wedding ones or dance party ones that I think I've done the cha-cha slide and
What they play at the skating rink.
well, no, back in my day, the skating rink was like Montel Jordan, like, this is how you do it.
This is it's still that
So,
to this day.
this is how we do it, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to think I was so cool because I was like skating backwards, but like I skated backwards like terribly. And then like there's like this cute little Hispanic chick. I was probably like, 7 or 8 at the time. But like
I'm so glad I didn't say it's the Latina dump trucks that always get them. So.
No, but like I was trying to impress her, and then she does the backwards thing and like way smoother, way like just way more talented at skating than I was. And I was like, oh, I know I look like an idiot.
I just never, I was never able to learn how to skate.
I grew up in New York where I had a pond in my front yard, so we could ice skate. So I've been ice skating since I was like 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah, you can't do that down here.
No.
It doesn't ever get that cold to where like you could be like, oh, I can get on that pond. Realistically, in North Carolina, every year, many people die just playing on the ice. It's like an epidemic. It really is. Every time it gets cold, people just are taken out. But I want to do the intro real quick for the new.
Well, 1 second. My dad always called New York summertime 2 weeks of bad skating weather. Is the way that he classified New York summer.
Ah. Oh, because it doesn't get that
2
hot.
weeks of bad skating. So basically,
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MADHD. Mike and Dylan hate drama, where we give people advice. Look, life is rough, and who better to give you advice than, I don't know, just two fucking guys who suck at life. Like it's. I think those doctors that have everything figured out. All right, Delilah. They don't really know about life, brother. All right, who better to tell you about life than two guys just absolutely going through the trenches? And I believe that's our, what is it? That is our positive against like all the other people that try to give people advice.
Yeah, I mean, right there, you just proved the point of like how good we are at it, that you can't even find the words to how good we are at it.
I hate when just like normal words elude somebody. It'd just be the most simple. You just be sitting there like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like if you're
that's my favorite is when people
happy
are like,
about something, you're ecstatic. That was the word I was.
Well, I like when people are like, the word that I'm looking for, and they've given you
Nothing.
Clues of what they're even talking about, like where this conversation's going. So you're like lost.
It always starts off in the beginning. They're never mid conversation when they forget the word.
You know the word. You know what I'm talking about. Like
Or they'll be like that guy from that movie. I'm like, fuck, I love that dude. The
Yeah,
one with the
that
hair.
movie.
He's got the fucking nose. Dope. So guys, we understand that it's been a rough week for people. All right, we've lost Ozzy Osbourne, Hulk Hogan,
someone close, near and dear to Mike's heart, Hulk.
the guy from the Cosby Show. I forgot his name. I don't know.
Well, that was what
This is the saddest, I believe, because anytime a father is trying to save their child from drowning.
See, I don't know about that one at all.
Yeah. So he played Theo from the Cosby Show. He passed away. Tried to save his child from drowning. And
how old are his kids? Because he was substantially older than we are, isn't he?
Yeah, it could have been a grandkid.
Oh, okay.
Could have just been a kid that. Listen, man. God, I'd hate to go out there and drown for my 20-year-old. Like, you supposed to be drowning for somebody at this age, partner.
Yeah.
Like, this is ridiculous. But that one, it's really unfortunate. We're gonna get into some corny shit about Hulk Hogan in a second. What's funny is me and Dylan have a transgender friend. People are gonna be like, oh, Mike, really? Listen, who somebody is not going to fucking affect how, as long as you're a good person, I'll fuck with you. Look, I got some friends who believe the earth is flat. I got, transgender friends. I think having friends from, a community instead of just like being targeted, that's where you get cult-like. Is like when all my friends have to believe in this, well, that's cult-like.
I still think it's the same situation as like a lot of like, not outright racist people, but like the people like where they're like, well, that person's different. Like a lot of people are like accepting of their community. Like if they know a transgender person, they're like, well, that one's a good one, and that's the problem. though. It's like,
Yeah, they're one of the good ones, brother.
that's the problem is like people like to just be like, well, they're the good example, but all the rest of them are the problem. So,
But they hit me up, and Sarah was like, yeah, you know, Ozzy Osbourne died and Hulk Hogan died, so I knew your country ass was going through it. I was like, yeah. It's been a rough one. It's so goddamn funny too, because I'll tell Sarah all the time. I'm like, well, when are you like, we're gonna get into like boxing or something, right? Because fucking Sarah beat the fuck out of you. Amazing at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. All right, and then they also do the gun thing where they like do like quick draw, and they all. Well, what's so funny is if someone was like, fucking, this lip. Sarah's actually super fucking Republican. Owns a bunch of guns and shit, but I always make the joke of like, when are you gonna start like boxing or something like that, so I could be your Teddy Atlas? Because listen, I don't believe transgender women should be able to compete in women's sports. I'm sorry. People are going to be like, Mike, I don't like that take. You can suck my nutsack. It's just, we don't even, obviously from the little info we have, we do know there's a substantial advantage. But if the system is there to be taken advantage of, allow me to take advantage of it. That was in the Bible. So if it's in the Bible, I can do it. And I'm just like, Sarah, look, you got into boxing, I'll be Teddy Atlas. We're going to dominate. Maybe, because look, it's the white transgender to black woman debate on who's better. Black people are just fucking, they're athletic, all right? So I don't know if Sarah's going to be able to take that step up. Maybe I have to find a black transgender friend, kind of even it out there. I don't know if I've ever seen that yet.
Yeah, I don't
the
know.
Black transgender athlete.
I don't keep up with it too closely. I kind of let it all pass me by.
It's always the whites doing it. The whites.
Well, see, I think the thing is like, one of the issues is that like if you're just a mediocre athlete anyways, the chances of you beating like a woman that's a good athlete, your odds are not that good.
Well, actually, high school track stars record faster times than college women.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm getting
you don't have to be at the top of your game. Like if you're competing in, men's track in the Olympics or fucking the Olympic, and which that might be fake. That might be a fake thing that I read, but look, I'm gonna believe it. I might have saw it off a meme. We all have a little bit. Like it doesn't matter if you're not a Republican. Everybody has a little bit of Republican in them. So I'll read something just like off of a meme or something like that, or half of a Daily Mail.
I think that's your Gen X,
right? Yeah, half of a Daily Mail story, and I'll just be like, I am going to take this at face value and run with it. And then somebody will correct me, and I'll see it, and I'll just be like, well, I'm never going to acknowledge that I was wrong, but I might have been a little bit wrong. But it would be like if I started dressing up like a woman and I was like, I'm gonna go run track.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Is like you if you are already like decent in that, and then you go and like. That's basically the claim, is that like people are just like, I want to win stuff, and so
it's like Carmen in the Special Olympics.
I don't think anybody's like transitioning just to win stuff. Like I don't think that's like, I mean, you have to really like buy in to like want to transition. Like it's not just like this week I'm gonna be a woman. So there's a little more to it, but like I still think like watching some of the especially like combat sports and stuff where there's a transgender person in there, and it's like, that's not just apples to apples. Like you're not equal to a woman just because now you identify as one. It's not the same. Like, and so
what's so funny is my wife she's super liberal, and so when Blake transitioned to Sarah, super supportive. All right, there was a big change in their personality when someone like does that. It is kind of like losing like the person you knew. It's like losing a friend. And then just some differences we had in like how to, speak to each other properly, like, going through something like that. But you know, Amy was like real supportive, and then Sarah posted this one thing about they say transgender women don't have periods, and like I'm cramping and blood, and Amy was like, "Look, you gotta shut the fuck up, all right? You gotta shut the fuck up. This is the point where you gotta shut the fuck up, all right? Because you're losing us." All right?
Well, see, and then there's like the turf thing, like the trans exclusive or exclusionary radical feminists or whatever, like where they don't consider, and like this is where it gets like,
But that's where
it gets so convoluted.
If you're sitting here saying, you know, don't tell women about their bodies, and then there's a whole group of women that's like, hey, we don't fucking recognize you. You gotta accept it, bro, because they've lived this life the whole time. You know what I'm saying? They go through the biological hardship. Being transgender is like me just all of a sudden wanting to be like, I want to be cool like a black person, but I don't want none of that goddamn, none of that struggle. Fuck that shit. I just want to be like, you know, cool.
And I don't understand why you have
my
to like
dances be nice.
Like you don't have to steal the whole thing to be like, I mean, it can be in its own area. Like, and you can have your own little sandbox over here that is yours, that you don't have to like try and act like you're everything, all parts of it. But it's one of those things where you can just like be in your own lane. Like it's okay to be in your own lane. Like, because the people that are cis had,
you know, this started off with us talking about Hulk Hogan, and he would hate this conversation. He'd be like, I don't get none of that. I don't get none of that gay shit, brother. Look, so we're going to get into a really corny story about me and Hulk Hogan. All right. So everybody knows Hulk Hogan with his, you know, Fu Manchu. It's not. I knew it wasn't handlebar. It was Fu Manchu. So my dad actually had one of those when and I don't know what it was, but like he was like skinnier, and he had the wrinkly face too. Mm-hmm. So when he was younger, he looked a little bit like Hulk Hogan. So I'd see like Hulk Hogan on TV, man, and you know, your dad don't come by. You don't got a dad. Look, every dadless kid has always been like, you know, what if? You're like, yeah. So it's like real corny. Look. My dad died, all right? I was going through that. I fucking loved Hulk Hogan as a kid, and I understand, look, he did a lot of shit to make people not like him after he was done with his wrestling career, but he did change an industry. He was my father. So, you know, what you gonna do, brother? I was sad. And then what's so funny is like, as soon as I had found out, someone was just like, rest in piss. And I'm like, what a terrible thing to say. We are all human. We all have flaws. We all have fucking, you know, shit that's wrong with us. Was Hulk Hogan a shit stain as a person? Probably wasn't the biggest cup of tea. You don't know what that fucking man went through on his day to day. You don't know anything about his life. I don't know. I just think it was like real fucking just disrespectful. For that to fucking just...
Well, I think that's what everybody likes to... They'd like to take a moment of, you know... It's his biggest virality that he's had in years, and that he will have for years, and take it and make it out like, you know, you can take all of the bad from his whole life and just pinpoint it in this moment and be like, haha, fuck you. And really, it's... Unless he's, like, literally murdered people. Like, come on.
The thing is, like, you had where he was... the racist shit about his daughter when she was dating the NBA player, terrible. Look,
yeah, I don't know.
I fuck with black people. All right. Then you had literally bro lied about every just industry story that man would tell would just be a lie to make him look cool. And there were wrestlers that didn't fuck with him. Still, he changed an industry. I didn't know none of this shit growing up too. I had a child molester papa, all right, I was just like, fuck. I still love the guy. He's a terrible person. You know what I'm saying? So there's that weird, you know, you got to accept that, you know, people, especially influential people, like they can do bad. Now, I don't think there's anybody out there going, well, you know, I'm just mourning Bill Cosby's career. Nobody's going to do that. Okay. There's a difference between, you know, seeing the human side of somebody when cameras aren't on and shit like that, and then fucking, you know, rapist. That's a different kind of person. You don't know what the fuck Hulk Hogan's going through when you know, someone's secretly recording him in secret. You don't know if he's been drinking, someone's baiting him into that shit. You know what I'm saying? So, the sex tape was so weird. I never ever even. That was one thing where I was just like, I'm okay with that secret.
You didn't want to see your dad?
Nope, didn't want to see it. I was like, I'm okay with that. Just being a mystery for the rest of my life.
I think the only two that I've ever seen is Kim Kardashian's and Pamela Anderson's. Those are the only two that ever like came across the feed of that situation. I don't know that any other like celebrity sex tape. Like I know a lot of people like I mean, I guess Paris Hilton and them they purposely like released theirs, right?
I don't think I've ever seen a celebrity sex tape.
I remember cuz like I mean it was literally back in the days when you could download shit. Like and so my buddy had downloaded the Pamela Anderson one of her and Tommy Lee and then the Kim Kardashian one was like very viral for like one like week.
I know
when it was
everybody
done.
loved the that's what made her famous.
Oh yeah.
Bro, I wish I could suck a dick and give it. Just like the power of a sex tape back then.
Oh yeah. Well,
If
people
your
were
career was
releasing-
hurting, Hulk Hogan did it the right way though, man. Like he did a sex tape and then he fucking sued somebody for hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, make money by trying to get it shut
Bro,
down.
like that's what I want to fucking do. My fucking leg was like resting on that. It was hurting, fat ass legs. And then we have Ozzy, who passed away. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I was the biggest Ozzy Osbourne fan. Honestly, I remember we lived on a house, Finch Avenue in High Point. It's not there anymore. It's like a business. And my stepdad's friend would steal cable. So I had no, I'm going to tell a really fucking stupid story about Ozzy too, because this one fucking grinded my gears for so goddamn long. Now, my stepdad, his friend would steal cable. So we had cable. And of course, my stepdad, I guarantee you, he was dying of Ozzy Osbourne because he loved him. And I'm not going to like, if you played Black Sabbath, that's something like you could just sit and listen to. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. It's not going to be like, oh, my fucking ears are bleeding. He was really good at making music. So, you know, he has a lot of really good songs, you know, fucking Crazy Train, Mama, I'm Coming Home. I know pretty much like, you know, War Pigs, the top fucking, you know, generals gather in their masses.
Yeah.
I know the biggest songs that he had. But yeah, my biggest thing with him is I watched the whole fucking, his whole reality TV show.
Yeah, I never watched that.
I just, the whole reality TV show, man, just enthralled. I was enthralled with that shit. I loved it. Ozzy, and he was just like, so if you watch other reality TV shows, like everybody's just like playing it. Bro could not have gave a slightest fuck that he was on a,
Yeah.
he's like, I don't give a fuck about none of this. You can
was
tell
all for
producers
the-
were just like, we got to make it exciting.
It was all for the wife and kids, like to make them famous. More
Yeah.
So than,
Pretty much. Like, you guys got to have careers after this, which you don't. You can just go, bro, go be a fucking zoologist. The cool thing is even if you make like $30,000 a year, you're rich. Like, you can just do what you want to do. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to do anything. Like, you can do literally what you want to do. But I remember it was 4th or 5th grade. I know it was 4th or 5th grade because at Allen J, the elementary school I went to, we had those trailers that they would send you out to. The trailers that they had when like a school was going through construction, but our school never went through construction, and they still have those trailers to
down
this
here,
day.
they just expand schools with trailers.
Yeah. So, yeah, Mike went to elementary school in a trailer. Yes, I did. All right. So, we had a substitute teacher, and this guy was Dylan. He was you, because he's in there, and we have like some work that we're supposed to work on. I hated the teacher that we had, so her being out was a fucking Miss McMillan. That lady was a bitch. That's the one where I had the hole in my sweatpants, and I was like, "Oh no, these are different ones." And she was like, "The holes in the same spot." I'm like, "What a bitch, man!
Yeah,
what a bitch!
Shut up!"
Like straight. If my kid told me that, I'm throwing hands with that bitch. Like, I'm throwing hands. My kid ain't gonna wear the same clothes every day, but I'm just saying, if you say something like to point out, like if my kid's getting bullied and they're trying to like redirect it and they're not being like a fucking nuisance or nothing. I was a good kid back then. They're not trying to be like a nuisance or anything. And then you just like, no, look at that.
Yeah.
That's bitch activities. But she wasn't there that day, so we had you come in, and we had some work. And he's like, I'm not gonna fucking. He's like, I don't care about that. And he just pulls out a guitar and just like plays it pretty much the whole class.
Mm-hmm.
So he starts playing Crazy Train and everybody's like, everybody's. And I'm like, all right. And I was like, where'd you learn how to play Crazy Train? And everybody's like, that's not crazy. That's Trick Daddy. I was like, brother, what? And they're like, that's Trick Daddy. And now I feel embarrassed as fuck because I'm like, oh, I got that wrong. How the fuck did I get that wrong? And they're like, what the fuck is a crazy train? They're like laughing at me and shit like that.
Wait, did Trick Daddy?
Yeah, he did the one that Let's Go with fucking Lil Jon.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I'm getting roasted right there, and he's like, whoa. He's like, this is Crazy Train. And he was like, Trick Daddy sampled that.
Yeah.
And that what sample means is that he stole his song and then put a little beat behind it, and I was like, this is my song now.
Write a song over top.
Yeah, and then wrote a song over top of it. So he actually a dope dude, man. I can't remember the slightest thing about that fucking guy. But listen, if you were a substitute teacher, like fucking 25 years ago, and I believe you would remember that interaction. But bro, I had like everybody. I felt so like. Because I was just like, oh, Crazy Train.
Well, the craziest thing with any of those is like, I mean, there's so many like Tupac songs and, you know, so many like rap songs from all of the different generations of rap. But like, there's so many songs of Tupac that then I hear like the sample that was in his songs. And I'm like, holy shit, I didn't like I knew that a lot of these things came from samples, but I never heard like the original material. And then like hearing that song just randomly, I'm like, that's where they got that from.
Right.
And it's like literally a song from, you know, the 60s and 70s and 80s and like long before they wrote their music. And so yeah, like I see where the kids are like, no, that's Trick Daddy. But no, you're fucking wrong. Like honestly, if you listen to rap music and you hear like any sort of like distorted guitar, like that's not
unless it's Lil Wayne trying to just give you the worst album you ever heard in your life. He did that.
I
He had that one song was good that I'm high and I hope you catch the fall. Welcome to my lecture hall. Can't shake my. I love Lil Wayne. Listen, I love Lil Wayne. He's one of the. I believe he is very underrated when people bring up like
who's the best,
like the biggest names and rap and shit like that. Well, I understand. I just can't. I don't like East Coast. A lot of the East Coast rap. A lot of the East Coast style and shit like that. I've never really gotten behind Jay-Z. People putting him at number one is fucking just mind blowing. You're talking about a guy who was on top of the game for maybe 5 years and not even really on top, just there at the top for 5 years. And then you got like someone like Lil Wayne who was there for
decades,
10, 15 years. 10, 15 years. And people are just like Jay-Z. And I'm like, that's wild because he is not influential, really.
I think the only thing
he absolutely, I believe, lost the beef with Nas.
Well, I think it's more so like what he's done for like other people, not just him. But like, I still agree that like, no, it's not like I never really
done for them. Blah, blah.
Yeah, and like I think that's what a lot of it is like, you know, supposed to be like the business prowess and like the what he accomplished like monetarily, and it's like that's not what is actually being compared here. You're talking about like actual skills, albums released, money made, like all that stuff right there.
Yeah, if entrepreneurs are giving their top 10, you know, business guys, and they're like Jay-Z, I'm like, all right,
yeah, makes
cool,
sense.
Yeah,
sure.
Well, a rapper did it too, so that's even more dope. But in the rap and like the scheme of rap, you got to think about how hard that era was too, because you know back in the 90s you had a lot of what the fuck is up with all these gnats, bro? I hate the South. Look, the South is as good as it is bad. I love this place.
Well, the crazy thing is my wife has a plant store that has like
they could be over there
carnivorous plants that could eat these things, and they're just like, no, we ain't going over there. We're gonna come over here. And
she feeds us. We ain't got to eat these.
Try to eat Mike's gum while he's talking.
Sucks. But that time was like truly difficult because you got to think you had Lil Wayne, Nelly, T.I., just like all these people now that are big. I'm not saying like 90s rap didn't have like a plethora of talent, but you didn't have we had access to the internet. You know, we have more dedicated rap stations. Rap is now played on pop stations, so you're hearing more of it now. So it just through you know, now everybody's listening to it, which, you know, Eminem did bring a lot of that to white people. He brought a lot of rap to white people. So just through that, you had all these people blowing up. And then, you know, consistently, like I said, nobody else did it through what I believe was the hardest time
Well, and some of the best time though. Like, I mean, it is like, yeah, you had a lot of people that you were going against, but like it was like one of the most prolific times for, artists to be on top, not just in the rap world, but like top 40, like just general pop.
General music, they were at the top of that too. Yeah. So it was,
because I mean, you're talking Ludacris and Outkast and like
just so many fucking rappers, so many fucking people rapping, because there were a lot of people rapping and they're not rappers, but it was harder then too. And once again, that felt like a time where rap was competing with pop, where now it's pretty pop dominant. You do have the kind of like I said, the underground scene, which is like your SoundCloud and shit like that, and then those guys are able to like crack the top, but not seen like it's not like it was then, where it was like pop and rap went hand in hand.
Well, now it's country and rap go hand in hand.
That's so weird. Yeah, country took, like, now it's country and pop. Like, you hear a lot of country on pop stations.
Yeah.
So
which that's always kind of been a crossover. Like, I mean, you take like Shania Twain's and Tim McGraw's and Faith Hill's and all those people. It was always been like very, like, they cross over very easily.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, because we were talking about Miss McMillan. That bitch turned me into a villain. I'm telling you, that was where the like
holes in the pants.
That's where it started to shift too, because there's a difference between like a teacher who has 30 kids and doesn't really care, and then she tried to like a 40-year-old lady. When
she wanted to be the cool kids.
Yeah, she wanted to be the cool kids. Like, she wanted to hang out with the cool kids and be a part of that crowd. And
Mean Girls, teacher version.
Yeah, and I couldn't, just mean as fuck. And I remember, listen, we had Mr. Shores too. Mr. Shores looked like Albert Einstein. Dope teacher. He'd just fart right in the middle of class too. He did not give a fuck. He'd be like, and pause and burn, and then keep it going. But I remember I was having problems with this kid, O'Brien.
It's like O'Doyle's from
yeah, from Adam Sandler. Well, yeah, but this was his first name. And we had gotten into we had not really a fight. It was like a wrestling match, because we're kids, but he kept walking by my desk and he would kick I'm like, stop. Like, why are you being mean, bro? Fucking douchebag. So he came by to do it again. I just fucking stuck my foot out there, tripped him. I was like, fuck this shit.
Smacks his head off the table and fucking gushes blood everywhere. And
he like turns around and he punches me, and I just like get up and like wrestle him to the ground. And Mr. Shores breaks it up, and he has me, and like O'Brien stands up. What's so funny is like
O'Brien is his first name.
Yeah.
Not Brian. They put an O in front of
it's got an O in front of it. But he goes to like kick me or something like that. And Mr. Shores was like, look here, bucko. If you do that, I promise you're going to jail. Like, that's different. He was like, I've broken up the fight. I have him. You do not jump in. That's not the manly thing to do anyways. Fucking dope. Look, I love that guy. He was talking about the honor in war right there. Yeah. Like, there's honor in war. If you boys are going to fight outside of school, you remember this. But we both had like ISS. Like I said, it was just pretty much a wrestling match. When we get back, we're in her class, and she was just like, I'd have just let y'all fall. Like, just get it out of your system. It was like, see what would have happened if Mr. Shores wasn't there to save him. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bitch?
Oh, if he wasn't there to save you?
Me, yeah. I was like, what's wrong with you, bitch? Like, what is in your fucking mind where you're a 40-year-old woman, I'm a fucking 10-year-old kid.
Yeah.
9-year-old, 10-year-old fucking kid, and you're just like...
Getting picked on, really. Like, getting bullied. Like, the kid was...
I think this was actually in 6th grade.
Yeah.
Not 4th grade. This was 6th grade.
But even, like, I mean, you're getting bullied by somebody. Like, somebody is fucking with you on purpose to try and get a rise out of you.
How old are 6th graders? Like 11?
Yeah,
so, yeah, I'm like fucking 10 or 11, and this bitch is just like... Because this is right before I had started, like, actually fighting people who were mean to me.
Yeah.
Because I was terrified, bro. I'm always... ever since then, too. Every fight I get in, I'm terrified. Like, I know I'm going to do my thing, and I know what, like, not to be, all fucking... I know how to breathe, and... Honestly, if you didn't like me, you heard this podcast, and you was like, I fucking hate Mike. I'm going to fight him in public. I'm going to let you do your thing like the first 40 seconds of the fight. Like if you run up on me or you're just trying to do the stance thing and like throw, I'm gonna let you do your thing because then you're gonna gas out and then it's a lot easier. I'm just probably just gonna like take you down and just punch you a couple times. It's the easiest thing to do. All right. We could stand, but I'm gonna stand after they've like expended themselves. I'm not gonna sit there and just be like, we're gonna fight for a nice 30 seconds and both be tired and look like dumbasses. I'm gonna let you look like a dumbass first. Which honestly, adults fighting is super fucking. It's the cringiest thing you could do.
Well, the wild thing is like, is it that serious? Like, if you fuck with your family or things like that, yes, those are the serious things that you can fight for.
Right.
But like outside of that, like somebody says mean things to you or acts like an asshole, cuts you off in traffic or anything, none of that's that serious. Like, just fucking get over it.
I'm trying to think of other things. Like, it was just egregious the shit that lady did, and then. We had another teacher, Mr. McMillan. We probably need to bleep out these names though, because I gave.
We're not fucking doing that.
Okay, we're not doing that. Look, Dylan's just like Dylan is me. He's like, it's going out there.
No, don't say them if you don't want them in. If you say them, they're in, because we're not going through an hour and 20-minute podcast.
I still to this day can't tell you if they are related or not. But he was just like a short little black guy. He was dope. Miss McMillan was a big fat black lady. But Mr. McMillan,
were they together?
I don't know if they were married or because they never interacted. I'd never seen them interact at all.
Yeah.
Never. And I was just like, how can y'all? Because I was just like, they're married. I was like, how can y'all be married? How can you be like? How can you be married to her? Like that's what I couldn't comprehend. I was like, you got to go home with that every single day. Couldn't be me, dog. Couldn't be me. We had one teacher. She was like my third grade teacher, and then she went to the middle school. So I had her again.
So what are we gonna do when somebody literally starts like putting the lore together, and then they're like, okay, well, Mike went to this school through this time, and then this is McMillan, so we got this person.
Oh, I don't give a fuck. Like,
they're gonna put together like your whole like backstory of like from kindergarten to senior.
I just hope they like piece it together as like a really good timeline. Because me, like, I'll be like fourth grade, and then I'll be like, no, then this is the trailers, and we had like different periods we would go to. Because I remember I hated going to her. That's how I was like, it's sixth grade that I had her, and the sixth grade kids went to the fucking little trailers and shit.
See, I went to a K through 12 school, and literally the same kids, 20-some kids. I think graduating, I think there was like 30 by that point, but like it was the same kids from preschool all the way to senior year, with some people coming in and some people going out, but like it's literally the same kids for 12 years, 14 years. But the crazy thing is down here when I went to the school in Greensboro, it was weird because it was exactly like that. Like they had the school, then they had like an addition that they built, and then they had a fuckload of trailers. And like if you go out by there now, those trailers are still there. Like they never bothered to like expand the school further. They're just like, oh yeah, we got trailers now too. These are the other classes. 20
But yeah, my turnaround started happening around fourth or fifth grade. But shit was so bad, like home life was just like so bad then too. We had just moved into the house. Like I said, that was the house I lived in the longest. We had just moved into that one. We had moved probably 8 times. By the time we got to that house, we were always just like moving around. So like fourth or fifth grade, that's when like the cracks start to show. My brothers, they're constantly getting in trouble. Nobody I'm the straight A kid. Like you, I didn't believe in bees. Fuck that shit. I'm too good for that. And it was just like, I can see now where they'll be like, oh, the kid just wants attention. Because my shit was like harmless, class clown. I would talk, make jokes and stuff like that. I wasn't mean to people. I wasn't like being like, you're a loser. I'm fucking with people. I was just being dorky and shit. And we had this old teacher, God, Miss Reed, old dinosaur old. And she was not down with the jokes. Also, Andy Milanakis too. He kind of ruined my life.
Yeah.
Him and your mama, because then I would take those jokes too. I used to battle rap the black kids on the bus. I think I've talked about that on the podcast. And look, there's the thing about black people too. You ain't even got to really be good at it. If you're just there doing it, they respect you. They're like, fuck yeah. So we used to do that on the bus, and essentially John Cena style. Because that was when he was starting to get big. He was a little rapper gimmick. We would do that on the bus. So that started like carrying over in the classroom where we would still be picking. And bro, she would just like she'd be like, well, since you're talking, I'm gonna call your grandma, and then your grandma will call or tell your mom and dad. Yeah, I was like, I get physically abused every time you do this. You fucking bitch. Like this is like I get like fucking pop, like backhanded in the mouth. I get beat with a wooden every time you call them for me just being a kid, like a kid with but that's she came from a different time where they just called you retarded, and I was like, hey, they put you somewhere else. Like, this kid can't sit down. Well, the kid can't sit down and shut up. Just take them to the principal. Well,
see, we're only like a generation. Like technically, my dad used to get like punched in the face at school by teachers, like full grown men, and him being like a fucking 10, 12-year-old boy getting fucking punched in the face, like rocked as a kid. Like we're one generation away from that.
I've never met a kid who's been whooped that was just like a good person. All the people that I know that are just like cool, calm, and collected adults, they were just like, yeah, my parents never hit me.
Yeah.
And then everybody else was like, we got to teach these kids the discipline. We got to beat the fuck up. That's not how you do it, brother. Those don't work. They just cause resentment.
Well, and then it causes the issue of like passing that on. And
you build up that anger and like you hold in anger then, and it's not good. It's always good to communicate and stuff. So that's where it started. Like for nothing, she would call your parents though. Because she was like
your pants.
She was like no, she wasn't.
No, but holes in your pants started the resentment, and then that built
on
top
this was
of
fourth
it
grade.
With,
she was sixth grade. And then we get into fifth grade. And now fifth grade, there was this kid, Max. He used to bully the shit out of me.
Sounds like a shit.
And then we moved right next to him. So what's so funny is he was like my biggest bully. And then he just kind of saw how I lived. And he was like, oh, man, bro. I was like, it was hard. We ain't got power. We've not had power for... I used to... I would stand by his window so I could watch wrestling. Because his parents wouldn't like allow us in the house, but I could stand by his window and watch wrestling. So he stopped bullying me after that. That was cool though. But he would bully me in like fifth grade, man. And I would tell people, and it was just like, I was like, what the fuck is it with these kids who, is it because they got nice clothes on that it's just like, if an altercation happens between us, maybe it's because I was a little chubby kid. And they were like, well, if an altercation, it's obviously the chubby, poor kid that's doing it. You're poor, so obviously you're a problem. I don't know what the fuck it was, man. But I would be telling these teachers, like, I'm getting fucking bullied. Like, I'm out here getting beat up playing football. Like, they would, like, clip the back of my foot and then, like, punch me and shit. Like, fucking just, like, sit on top of me and, like, fucking rub, like, bully shit. Like, and I'm just like, what is happening? So that's where I kind of, like, start, like, lashing out, and almost to like the little friend group that I had became like a bully, which looking back on now is like, I hated that part because it was like to my friend, I was just like mean to him for no reason.
Became the mean person.
Just like in our like little clique of people who were bullied. So I was like, that's when I started being like bad in class, like not listening and stuff like that. I didn't even, at that point, I started to not give a fuck about like getting beat when I got home because it was like probably gonna happen anyways. Like fucking for the littlest shit. Yeah, I was like, the littlest shit. It's probably gonna happen anyways. I accepted it.
That's crazy because like I always thought of myself, and like it's looking back, it's what were you? And like I see that now looking back. I used to be the bully of like not that I was like full on just a bully, but I was the dickhead that like harassed my friends. Like, I guess it's something where, if you take enough, you end up like passing it along, and like there's no excuse for it. But like,
you're a little kid, there's an excuse for it. Like, it's fucking, if somebody would have just stepped in, somebody would have been like, hey, like fucking let somebody exist. And I just didn't have, if I had parents that I could talk to, I had nobody. Like I just had to fucking just be like, why does everybody else just get to fucking like exist? Because I mean, I did nothing except for wore the same clothes every day.
Well, and I think it's the part of like how it, like, I mean, even I had really good parents, but it's how much they spent time in that world. So like when me and my friends were together, they weren't around, so like they couldn't guide me on like, hey, you're being a dick to your friend, like you should probably stop being a dick to him. Like he's literally nice to you all the time. Why the fuck are you being the bully in this situation? Just like fucking give him back his thing, or don't play like that way. You can see he's upset. Like, but your parents aren't involved. Even if you have good parents, if they're not there in the moment to like be like, hey, why are you being a dick he's like your best friend, like just be nice to him. But as a kid, like you're like, well, I've been bullied. I've been treated like this. So this is what I need to do to like basically take the power back and you be the powerful
Right.
one.
It's just, it creates a weird dynamic. in
It's
kids.
weird.
It's so sad because then you see like these kids who fucking, like I tell you, I got a friend who was almost a school shooter. Sweet kid. Like obviously the way he looks, it brought upon him a trials and tribulations that shouldn't be there. Like it shouldn't, like I said, I don't believe, I believe live and let live. That's my thing. If you don't fuck with somebody, if somebody looks different than you, you know, picking on somebody to make yourself look cool, that's when you're a bitch. Like if you are talking down about somebody to make yourself look better, that's where we kind of get into like bitch territory.
Well, I think that's what a lot of kids do though. Like that's pretty much all you have in youth. Like you don't have money or status. Like I mean your parents do, but like that you're going to pick on somebody for the clothes that they wear. You're going to pick on them for like their hygiene or like whether they get haircuts and like all this other stuff. So like kids, and like I see that with my 13-year-old, the best time was when she had to go to a school that had uniforms because it just eliminated the ability for kids to pick on each other.
I've
for
told
fucking, like
the uniform story on the podcast, right?
about if you look at like
Okay. If I'm not, I don't know if I've said.
I don't know whether you did it on the podcast, but I remember you telling me
So
about it.
I don't know. So 9th grade, I go to a school that they have uniforms, and the uniforms where you had to wear khakis, and then you could wear any shirt. It had to be tucked in. It had to be tucked in. God damn. And it couldn't be, the only rules with your shirt is it couldn't be red or blue. You couldn't be blood or crip.
Gang colors.
Yeah, it couldn't have gang colors. So you know, my mom and stepdad, they go out to get me my uniform for school, and all they heard was khaki. So it's time for school. You know, I'm ready for a new school year. I, for one, love the uniform thing because you wear the same things every day.
Yeah.
Hell yes, that's my thing. Okay. And then I'm putting on my uniform. I'm not noticing anything about it. It's a school uniform. I assumed everybody was going to be dressed like me. All right. My brother walks in. You know, he gets up and he's like, God damn, you crocodile hunter? So I go look in the mirror, man. I got a khaki shirt on. It's like light brown shirt tucked into my khakis. I got the love handles. You know, I'm chubby. I'm chubby at this point, the start of high school. So I got that's so weird about poor kids too, is they're fat. I don't know why. It's just like if you're poor.
Well, bad food. Like, I mean,
yeah,
bad food makes
worse food, the cheaper food. But I get on the school bus, man, and people are wearing like nice polos and I'm like, oh my God. And fucking sure enough, people are, I'm just like, I got to get a different color shirt. I got to get like people had button ups on. They looked real nice. And I'm sitting there like my whole ninth grade
mate.
crocodile hunter. And then my shoes were like beach shoes, because my stepdad was like, oh, I got you a real nice pair of shoes. And I opened them up and I was like, oh, those do look nice. I have never been to the beach at this point. I don't know what water shoes are. And they're like blue. And I'm like, oh, I ain't got to fucking tie them either. That's nice.
God. And you're like, what, like 12, 13, 14?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there? Oh,
Yeah.
man. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, that was, like, I could see you showing up to school and I'm like, you would be the kid that like takes a lot of heat for showing up with water shoes and fucking looking like Steve Irwin.
Looking like Steve Irwin. The crazy part is, though, I mean, so 5th grade, we had this teacher from like Europe, and me and this guy had like I said, because I'm in my talk back mode now. Like we're coming around to that. That's the worst that I would do. And I don't know what happened, but it was the last week of school, and he told me to, like, I did something. He was like, write your name on the board, which is the dumbest thing ever. I guess it shames you. I don't know. But I go up there and I write your name on the board.
Ah.
So I go back to sit in my chair, and he comes over, and like he's upset that I did that. And I don't know what he tried to do, but he grabs the chair in a way where I fall down and everybody laughs at me. So I took that chair and I chucked it at him.
Oh, shit.
There's a girl I went to school with, Ikra, and I'm going to apologize because I'm going to tell another story
with
It's hilarious.
everybody's names.
Yeah. Well, just her first name, which that's a very unique first name.
Yes.
But she knows. Ikra took full force of that chair.
Oh, fuck,
Bounced right
dude.
off. So they call the cops. They call the cops because I know I'm in a world of trouble. I'm like, I'm dead when I get home.
You should be a better aim for one thing. But
I'm dead when I get home. So I'm just like, fuck it. I'm not leaving this fucking classroom. I'm like, you know, they've got all the kids out. The school counselor's there. That lady, I don't remember her fucking name from Adam, but I mean, how do I say this in a polite way? She's a big lady. People will know what I'm saying. She definitely drove a Subaru. If you get what I'm saying, all right. If you get what I'm saying, she definitely drove a Subaru. Had the short haircut. But she tried. She understood like what I was going through as a kid. So I was like, fuck this shit. I'm just gonna like leave. So I go to like climb out the window because I'm like, I'm not going home after this. I'm gonna die. So I'm like trying to go through the window, and she's like grabbing my leg, and I'm like, just can you please? Because I was at first I was gonna like try to kick, and I was like, I don't want to hurt her. I was like, can you please let my leg go? So she finally like just lets me go because she's like, I don't know if I can like actually physically drag this kid back through a window. But as soon as I got out, there's two cops, and they take me up to the front. I don't have a belt on, so my pants keep falling. I do remember this. Like I had to wear older brother pants, but I never had a belt, so I would always have to be like pulling my pants up and stuff. Fucking, it was rough. It was rough being kid me. I was forced to be funny. So they put me in handcuffs. She goes, "This is not necessary." She's like, "He threw a chair. I get it. It hit a girl. She's okay." They were like, "This is not necessary," and they was like, "It is necessary." So they just take me home. No charge, no nothing. The principal was like, yeah, probably best. It was the last week of school. He's like, probably best if we're just going to suspend you for the last week. So I get home, and the cops tell my parents, I don't know how the fuck this cop worded it. Shout out to this cop though, because like we talked for like a good minute because he had to do all this shit on the fucking all his paperwork and shit, just while I was just like sitting there in the front seat, just like, oh man, look at all this cop stuff. I'm gonna be a cop one day. He was like, yeah, I bet you are, a little delinquent. but I don't know how he worded it to my parents about like what happened, but they were just like, yeah, just go sit on your bed. Shit happens. Sometimes you get angry. I'm like, what? Did y'all get drugs or something? Are y'all high? Like, what's happening? I don't know why everybody's being so nice. And then 2 days later, my aunt took me to Virginia for the whole summer. So I was like, wow, I got fucking
vacation.
I didn't get in any trouble for the worst thing that I ever did. And then we get into the 6th grade year where my dad had started coming around again. Like, getting me, he would get me and my brothers sometimes, which is infinitely more than what he used to do. None. And I would tell him about the bullying and stuff. And he's like, son, sometimes you gotta say enough is enough and you gotta fight somebody. And he was like, look at me. If you ever get into a fight at school, he was like, and your mom and your stepdad try to punish you, I'm gonna say, no, you can't punish my that's my boy. And I was like, fuck yeah, Dad. So the first kid I ever fought, his name Jonathan Lyons. I guarantee he's not he might be a businessman right now. He's not. But look, that was the first kid I ever actually like went in and fought. And then from there it cascaded to if I walk by somebody and they snickered, it could not be about me. We're fighting. We're throwing down right there. I was literally the meme of like that fucking Aaron the plumber dude where you just like breathe and he's like, I took that personally. That was me. 9th grade. There's this High Point Gang goon squad. So I am learning, 9th grade is where I start to learn that, hey, I get my own shit. Like, I can go out and make my own money, get my own shit. Like, sometimes through not good memes, you know what I'm saying? I go to City's Trends, grab me a couple things. You just get somebody to distract the fucking other 16-year-old that's working there, and you can just walk right out with it. And it's not hard. You're just like, hey, bud, John Cena, Nelly, what are these guys up to? And they just fucking sit there and talk and just be like, I'm gonna walk out with this stuff. But man, that was tough because they were like, I don't know if they were an actual gang, but they were a gang at school, man. And they clicked up, and it was really hard when you ain't got no friends. And the friends you do have all play card games. Because I'd be sitting there, I'd be like, yeah, man, So I got to fight like 4 people after school. At least 4. Football season's happening, so some of the guys are going to be playing football, and they just be like, "You don't have to do any of this. You know that, right? You don't have." I was like, "I have to, because as a man, I don't know."
Defend my honor.
But I was constantly doing it, and that's when my stepdad was like, "Look, I don't know who the fuck he heard it from, what he heard it off of, but I think he went to." I know what happened. He went to a fucking like a Everybody's Day. And they had the martial art people there. You know what I'm saying? That's like, teach your kids self-defense. And it was a Hapkido guy. And that's how it started with Hapkido. And I was like, this is lame. Because it's like a lot of joint locks and stuff like that. But we would do, like, he was an actual, he was like high up in judo. I don't know what fucking belt system they go by. So he would teach us a lot of like judo too. Because he's just like, look, you can fucking learn joint locks all day long, you ain't gonna be able to do nothing. So Hapkido was like the main thing we started doing. And then I was just like, oh man, you know, I want to get into kickboxing and I want to fucking, you know, try out. So kickboxing, I did that was probably the longest one I did for a couple of years. And then, like I said, I never actually formally trained in judo, but if you know how to hip toss somebody, bro, and then you know how to do any kind of, you know, fucking once you get somebody down, if you know how to like fucking put hooks in, and like once you start learning about guards and shit like that, you can pretty much neutralize any kind of like situation. And also too, I would watch a lot of UFC, and if you don't think we're out there fucking just like, all right, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so we would just be goofing off doing that shit. And once you learn, I'm serious, like if your child is getting bullied at school, if you teach them how to do a fucking jab and a straight, and then, you know, take somebody down and do a little bit, they'll just win every single fight ever, because every other kid is just like, I'm going to either windmill or try to throw the biggest haymakers ever. And that just doesn't work if you go to like do a big wind up punch and get popped in the nose.
Well, and like gas out too. If they even can hold for, you know, 20, 30 seconds, they're done.
Well, so what's crazy too is like, I remember kickboxing, we'd run for like 15 minutes and then nothing else. Cause I don't know why. Maybe it was because it was like because I wasn't in like the youngest class. I was in like the middle tier class before the adults. They got fucking ran through it. They got fucking get on you fucking belly. We're gonna fucking do cardio for 45 minutes before you guys even think about fucking sparring or anything like that.
I guess that's good to keep people from beating the ever living shit out of each other.
We
gas them out so that they don't like have anything left in the tank to really.
What's so funny about Hapkido too is, and like joint locks, bro, they do fucking work. They don't allow them in mixed martial arts. So
my buddies that did it, they always said that it was like more so like redirecting other people's energy. So if somebody came at you with something, they would like.
That's not real. That's bullshit. That's bullshito.
I mean, I've seen
it bullshito.
Yeah, but I've seen literally people like, I mean, the people that don't know how to fight come at you, and you just you basically take the energy they're taking towards you, and you put them. I don't know the relationship
that Hapkido has with judo.
Yeah,
but
maybe that's what they were learning too. But
because it teaches you a lot of like hip tosses and stuff like that, because that is judo. Yeah. Like when you're redirecting somebody's energy, that's judo. That's like it's a lot more like the clinch style.
Yeah.
And getting somebody down from the top position, getting somebody down, and then now judo's incorporated a lot of jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. It has a much bigger ground game. It had a big ground game back, you know, when they were doing it in fucking Japan. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was like Japanese judo versus fucking Brazilian jiu-jitsu. That's like a big fucking rivalry that they had. But that's the judo part of it. The joint locks and stuff like that, those do fucking work. Because if you have somebody in guard and they're just like fucking like hitting on you, like digging in your pressure points, or like, you know, you're fucking doing wrist control, which you know, that's wrestling. So if you're doing wrist control and I'm sitting there like fucking spinning your wrist like that, because they're like joint locks fucking hurt like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
It essentially neutralizes all. You can't do ground game if you have shit like that in it. So that's why they don't allow joint locks and shit. And you can fuck somebody up doing that shit. That's why I don't understand why they allow what the fuck do you call it? It's not a knee bar. It's the fucking ankle. God damn it. Heel hook. That's why I don't know. Heel hooks if I put you in a heel hook and was just like, you're never going to walk again, I could do that in 10 seconds. And if you are like, fuck, I got to get out of this, and you go the opposite way, like if you get put in a heel hook and you go the opposite way of the guys in one moment of your life, you are fucked for the rest of your life. That's why I'm like, I don't understand why mixed martial arts allows that. That's the crazy one. But yeah, after that, I was like, at a drop of the hat, I would just start fighting people. And then we hit this really sweet spot where I just didn't have to fight anybody else, because it was just like, people were like, all right, look, if we mess with this retarded kid that obviously has not been separated from the normal kids, then he won't fight us anymore. And also, I fought a kid, Ahmed Atanse, once again. I'm gonna drop names.
Always.
I fought him on a school bus, and he was a senior, and he lost to a freshman, so that gave me a lot of credit. So
yeah,
fun times. Look, see, we got the story of Night Out.
Yeah.
What else were we going to talk about on the podcast? Oh yeah, we give advice.
Yeah, and then I got I believe it's Danny's voicemail.
All right, dear Mike and Dylan, my name's Danny, age 37. I was married. I got 2 kids. I have a girlfriend right now. Here we go. Am I an asshole for wanting to maybe kick out my girlfriend? So we've been dating for a year and a half. She's been living with me for about a year. Once my ex found out that I had a girlfriend living with me, she won't let my 2 kids stay at my house at all, not on the weekends or anything. She says that my girlfriend is a bad influence, doesn't have a job, she's a nobody, she don't want them influencing the kids. But now I got family too telling me, like, what, your girlfriend don't have a job yet? She's been there for a year. And, now bills are tight. So I'm like, hey, girlfriend, you going to get a job? Or if not, I kind of want you to find another place to live so I can have my kids over here on the weekends. And, if you're not helping with the bills, then, I can do this myself anyway. So, anyway, that is the question. Am I an asshole for letting other people influence me, I guess, and kicking out the girlfriend? She's a great girl, by the way. I just trying to figure out what I need to do next. All right, thank you.
So, great girl, by the way. I mean, good pussy. That's what. So, he was talking about his girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was hoping he wasn't talking about like one of his kids, because I do be zoning out sometimes when we're.
That took a very twisted turn there.
Right. I was like, well, did I zone out? I was just making sure. So, it's the political take right there. That was bad. That was bad. Maybe we take that take out.
You can.
Fuck it, no. We ball. Mike fucks up sometimes. So, no, you're not the asshole, bro. She won't get a job. Times are tough. If you were kicking her out solely because you just wanted your kids, I don't know. You say she's a great girl.
I don't really, I don't think you're the asshole. I don't think that you would be the asshole. I don't think you aren't the asshole. It's nobody else's decision. You either choose to make it, and that's the problem with this scenario is do you have custody agreements where your wife or your ex can tell you what you can and can't do? Ultimately you guys aren't together, so if you don't have any sort of custody agreement, get one.
She's mad because the new girl's hotter.
Probably.
That's what she's mad about. Also, that's such a cunty thing to do.
Yeah. 2
people break up because she does not sound like a good person. And then she's like, oh, well, she can't go over there if your new girl is there. Also, though, if times are tough and you've not signed on to just all right, you're just a stay-at-home person because the kids aren't there, so you're just a stay-at-home person, and you're like, hey, help out partnership, and she doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean that just doesn't make sense to be a full-fledged adult and be like, nah, I don't work.
No. Do you at least play video games? Make it make sense.
Well, do something.
Stream, OnlyFans. Jesus Christ, start flicking that bean online, get some money. Goddamn, bring something in. I'm struggling. I'm sitting here working 12 hours, 7 days a week, girl. Show that asshole online.
It just doesn't make sense that you would have no kids, no thing that you're doing that you can say I'm at home. No, if you you don't just sit around and fucking be worthless. Unless you're fucking you got a farmer's market situation. You're growing vegetables and selling them by the roadside, like something.
Bartering,
what the fuck are you doing
do
with
something
your
with
day?
your just attempt to do something. But yeah, not the asshole, bud. You do need to probably
Figure it
go
the
the
fuck
legal,
out,
yeah,
dude.
go the legal route with your kids to say, hey, this is how this happens. There's no, well, you do need to have like some sort of custody agreement. If she's saying, well, I'm not going to let the kids come over during this time. If you can only get them on the weekends because you're working, have a fucking court that says, hey, yeah, he gets them during the weekend because he works during the week. So I would definitely look that route. And then also, if things are tough and she's not wanting to pull weight that you know, want her to pull, the ending it with she's a great girl, by the way. I mean, she throws it on them.
Well, if literally you went through that whole thing and everybody else is telling you to kick her out and you're kind of thinking about kicking her out, you want to kick her out. So like it just is. But like don't put it on anybody else. It's either you want her there and you'll figure out the kid's situation or you don't. But like that's on you. You're not the asshole, but you got to be a man about it and fucking step up and decide what you're going to do. Like kick her out, let her stay, but it's your decision, not your ex's, not your parents, not your family's. Like if you're cool with her just fucking being a hot chick on the couch while you go off and work all day, that's fine. Like you can have a trophy girlfriend, I guess, but that's your choice.
The voice submissions, we don't get a lot unless it's from Ricky. And look, we're gonna have to do
a solo Ricky episode because Ricky calls.
Not an episode for MADHD or 2JB. We have to do that some kind of like special somewhere else.
Yeah, well, like Patreon or something.
Yeah,
like it'll just be an all Ricky all day episode
because brother submits every week.
Couple days.
Every couple days we're getting a Ricky update. We want you to know, Ricky, that we don't forget about you. But also we're not like a like a radio show where we have like it's a Ricky segment, and we do have like a lot of new people come along. Like normally I would have edited that voicemail, so it's not like a
no, that's the thing is we're gonna edit afterwards. We don't have to edit prior. We can edit during.
What do you mean?
I can, when I go to do the episode, I can edit. Hey y'all, this is future Dylan. Just to let you know, I did edit the voicemail that Mike was telling you that he would normally edit. I just do it a different way. So it was edited. It went from a 2-minute long ramble down to about 1 minute and 10 seconds. So the voicemail was edited, but we left all the rest of this good stuff in here for you to listen to. Like,
so you're just gonna cut, but you're gonna cut out because you'd have to cut out the podcast part too.
Yeah, because
it wouldn't line up if you.
We got 3 angles, and so rather than edit beforehand, then play it back, and then put it back in, I can literally just put it in, line it up, edit it once, and it's just done.
I just overlay that one. Because then I go into take out the me zoning out at the end, being like, yeah, she's got great pussy. Because he said great girl, I was like, that means she's got great pussy. And then I was like, wow, I had zoned out at the last part. I was like, he was talking about his ex, right, or his new girl.
Yeah, and in this thing though, like what I'm saying though is like you mentioning that we have to edit. We don't have to like ever mention any of that because it will be edited in the process of editing it. Like I
think it's so fucking funny when I fuck up. Though.
I mean, if you want to leave it 2 minutes, we can leave it 2 minutes, but like I was going to go in and edit it in the edit rather than download it, edit it, spend the time to export it, do it, put it back in here, then go back.
I love talking about this too on the podcast because the podcast is not just like, because people will be like, yeah, fucking infinite episodes and all this stuff. Bro, it's not just, we just sit here and we're just like, oh, well.
Yeah, no, there's.
Did you know in 1965 when they used to put this new form of yeast in bread and then that's what started the Nazis or something like that? Fucking some little innocuous detail. It's not just that. We have behind the scenes stuff, and we are poor, so we have to do all the other stuff ourselves. We're not those guys where we can just be like, send this off to an editor and then.
One thing that I wanted to mention at the beginning of the episode, because like I don't like that we continuously like talk about how poor we are, but one thing that I noticed this weekend was like I'm struggling. Like I don't know how I'm going to pay my mortgage this month. I have no idea, no fucking clue. But I literally am like the happiest I've been and like the most sure of like being in the right direction, even though shit's just fucking burning around me. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna pay my bills, but like I think I'm on the right track. And it's the wildest fucking thing in the world.
I do want to tell, so once again, me and Dylan are grown ass men. We do have like the Patreon coming I don't know when that's going to be up, but this might have the
it'll
link to it. So this will have the link to it. We're going to do an episode. It'll still be on the platforms. Like it'll still get like posted to the platforms. I don't know how all that shit works, but
it'll be exclusive to the members who pay for it.
Right. So it all started with TikTok. That's where we made most of that's where we made like the money where we would get through day to day. So TikTok, they were like, oh, do the like TikTok shop. They start like taking down your views and shit like that. If you are a TikTok creator or you make TikTok videos, if TikTok's like, hey, we got this new feature, don't do it. Because if you don't use that feature, they're not going to give you any views. Had I known what I know now, and I don't want to grow another fucking platform on TikTok, but now I'm in the process of doing that because of what I know now. So we started using TikTok Shop, and to keep the views still going up, which worked. And then TikTok was like, oh, well, if you use TikTok Shop, we're not going to pay you for the videos anymore.
Yeah, you just make money off of TikTok Shop.
Because and we're not paying businesses either. And we're like, so you forced us into fucking doing that. So then we reverted back to our original thing. And now that we're not doing TikTok Shop, you can literally go to my page and look at a whole month of just every video doing like 1 to 4 million views a piece. And then you can see the moment where I stopped doing TikTok Shop because it's like 20,000 views, 10,000 views. And people will be like, oh, those are good views. If you're a small creator, not a guy with 1.8 million fucking followers. So they kind of hit us in the dick on that. We are monetized on Facebook. That's the only other platform we're monetized on.
On YouTube now, but it's
Facebook. They do not Facebook don't fuck with the Am I the Asshole stuff. We'd have to like go back into skits, and that's just another thing on the layer of shit pasta that we have to fucking deal with. And it's really hard to be like, oh, I'm gonna write a whole bunch of funny, unique skits that don't fucking steal off of anybody's shit, And it's just, it's pretty difficult.
But I feel like we're on the cusp. Like that's the thing is like I think, yes, things are probably the darkest right now that they've ever been. But I feel like the amount of effort that we put behind the podcast and the amount of like time and passion we put into this is at the cusp of like turning the ship around and start going in the right direction again, whereas we're not attached to like, okay, is TikTok going to pay us? Is Facebook going to pay us? Is Instagram going to pay us? Like, I think
Instagram has never paid us, worst platform ever.
Well, the consistency that we have across viewership is substantially better with this. Like, it's consistent as fuck. We don't hit peaks of millions.
I don't have a fucking platform saying, hey, if you don't do this or if you say this, we're going to take you. That's the one thing with Facebook too, is Facebook for the longest time couldn't even make money off of it because they'll be like, oh, this video violates guidelines. And then you'll be like, why? And they'll be like, oh, it doesn't, but you're still not monetized again. And then you're like, why? I'm like, oh, you should be monetized, but we're just not going to remonetize you. And I'm like, you make no fucking sense. And
did you make money off of my content?
Bro, really? Like, Zuckerberg really went on Joe Rogan and was like, yeah, I'm changing everything, and changed nothing. I believe a week after that is when we got demonetized for, I don't know, I might have said ass or fuck or something. And they were like, no, inciting violence.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I think I said something about pedophiles shouldn't live anymore. God, fuck me, right? Just wow, what a shitty guy. Meanwhile, go to fucking Facebook Reels and just watch somebody get fucking ran over by a car.
So on that note of pedophiles, what'd you think about? Did you watch the South Park episode?
I watched the
clips of it.
Yeah, the big clip, the clip everybody's talking about, the one where it's him and the devil.
Oh, like I mean, there's so much to that episode. It's so
I'm at this like, I get that there's a lot of political things going on right now and people can't come together on any fucking thing. I believe abusing children sexually, physically, I believe we need to put this in a heart. Like we need to really shine a light on this, both sides. If you're one of those people that's like, oh, there is no list, you're a cuck, bro. You're a cuck for your fucking political side. There's a list, and I believe everybody on that list should be dealt with.
You can't tell me that there isn't a list. Like the flight logs alone. Like there's
100%.
Like,
There was a rich guy. He owned a fucking pedophile ring.
yeah,
He had a bunch of rich buddies.
name a bookie, a fucking pimp, anybody that doesn't keep a fucking list of their
The goddamn Rolodex.
Yeah, like that's the people they call. Like, hey, we got some new talent. Hey, we got this new game. Hey, we got this. Like, those are the people you call because they're the high rollers, and those are the people on that fucking list. Guaranteed. Like, even if it was an alias, you can figure that shit out. Like, we can figure out Egyptian hieroglyphics. Like, we can figure out a pimp's little black book.
I've really gotten to the point where I don't know if it's unhealthy how I'm thinking. I believe that it's pretty healthy. I think that I'm able to sit back and look at things, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've never been a, you know, take a red pill, take a blue pill type guy. I was back in my youth and started getting into politics, and then I was able to really, you know, just be able to gather information and formulate my own opinion. The Invictus Task Force, the Invictus Project, where the federal government works with like the state government to arrest all these pedophiles, they're doing a pretty good job. Okay, they're getting a bunch of guys, especially fucking around Davis County, Randolph County.
Yeah,
they're getting motherfuckers, and imagine having to witness the shit that those guys witness. Okay, and then the court system's like, all right, we'll give you 3 years probation. You'll spend a year and a half in jail. There are way too many pedophiles smiling in their mugshots. It fucking, bro, when I see, like, I feel like Dexter, man. I'm like, I want to kill this guy. Like, I really do. And I don't like to carry that, like, hatred. It's a good hatred to have. Look, if you're going to hate, that's a good people. That's a good type of person to fucking hate against. But that's a reason why those penalties are not that harsh, is because there's people up there that's like, well, I do that. I don't want to fucking, that's why those penalties are not harsh, because some of the people who are making the fucking laws partake in that shit. So they're like, fuck, if I get caught for this, I don't want to do fucking, you know, if they made it, if you harm a child, I think minimum life in prison. Me, I want to dissuade. And I understand people are going to be like, well, you know, sometimes there's innocent people that get accused. Once again, look, if there is 100%, we have proof you have done this, we need to put the fear of God into anybody who wants to follow in your footsteps. I'm sorry. Like, sometimes inhumane things need to be met with inhumanity. And we're at that point, man. We're at that point. America is the #1 market for child pornography. We are probably the biggest sex trafficking country there is. We need to, if you are truly like, this is nasty, protect our kids. I don't know what the fuck we have to do, but we have to start making it to where if the Invictus Task Force arrests a motherfucker, they got somebody who was trying to molest a child, fuck a 13-year-old girl, what the fuck ever. I want to see fear in a mugshot. I want to be like, oh God, like I want, like, hey, you at least to understand your life's fucking over. You're going to prison for the rest of your life. That's taxpayer dollars. I'm at the point, look, I know you're sick, whatever. Normal people, they don't want to fuck children. But there are people who go through that, and then they go through therapy. They talk to people and shit like that. So we have evidence of people that are like, oh yeah, you know, it's a fucking weird sickness that I get help for, and they never act on it. So as soon as we have an example of just one person that does that, that makes what you do unexcusable.
Yeah.
I'm at the point where, bro, I don't believe in, like I said, a humane death penalty where we sit there and we fucking inject you and you go the fuck to sleep. I would take that I would still take that for pedophiles. But we need something, man. Fucking Jesus Christ. Like, in humanity, like, inhumane shit needs to be met with inhumanity.
I think the thing is like we need to take back the power that has been taken away from us. Like, basically, you have a bunch of wealthy and powerful politicians and all these fucks that basically 2 years ago, how long was it when Epstein was found out and all this other stuff? Like,
about 2 years ago.
You had 2 years ago, this was all such a thing, and all of it was going to be handled. And then now,
save our kids.
Literally,
Wait, it's not all Democrats. It's not all Republicans. Like,
and like, that's the thing, is it's a team sport, and people are willing to accept that rather than being like, no, fuck you. And like, I think there are plenty of people saying like, no, fuck you in this moment, and it's admirable. But like,
I believe it's the majority.
But then there's like people that are still going to defend, and like, what the fuck is wrong with you that you can't just be like, oh no, that person is a piece of shit. And like, I'm sorry, but like, the whole time you had to have known that Trump was involved in this. Like, he is the exact. This has been my issue with that guy all along. They talk about how like, well, you know, he's just like us. And I'm like, no, he is the epitome of everything that you say that you hate. He is a fucking New Yorker, a businessman who's fucking fucked over all the working class people that have ever worked for him. He's literally the antithesis of what you have said you stand for. And the people that you hate are him. But now that he's on your side saying the things that you like to hear, you're just like, oh yeah, no, he's my guy. And it's like, no, he's the guy that if you talked about this 10 years prior to him running, you'd be like, oh, anybody that's like a New York business guy is a piece of shit. I fucking hate that guy. And
he has literally he's looked at you in the face, and he has said that I am above the law because of who I am. Has, you know, talked about these files many a times. Over and over again about he knows about the files, he knows who's in the files, all this stuff. And then the moment that he's mentioned that he's like that it's mentioned he's in the files, well, now they don't exist.
No, all of a sudden it was all a hoax. It was not. You can't believe it at all.
Right. And look, fellas, from the side that tells people to wake the fuck up, we got to wake the fuck up, okay? Because until you realize that it's Donald. It's Biden, it's Democrats, it's Republicans, it's all of them. We're never going to truly come together on this. Like, you got to put the love that you have for this man aside and realize he's one of the bad ones, okay? Listen, you don't have to pick the lesser of two evils. And there's going to come a day, this shit's not getting any better for anybody, all right?
Well, I think that's the hard part is, like, in all honesty, no matter who you're talking about, like, you always try to vote for the lesser of the two evils, and they're all fucking evil. And like, I'm not saying that you can't have I'm a left-wing person, I'm a right-wing person. I agree.
Your morals and values.
But you're fucking American number one, and that's the problem, is they've sold us up the river where we can't just be Americans first and all get on the same page and be like, fuck all these people. Fuck them all. Because they're terrible representatives. They're not our leaders. They're shit people.
Donald included. Donald,
yes.
Every single Republican, every single Democrat that is up there, they do not care about you. And until you, like you guys say, wake the fuck up, okay? Because we especially need y'all. Y'all motherfuckers got all the guns.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck we gonna do? I can't sit here and rely on a bunch of liberals,
a bunch of purple-haired,
right, to be like, hey, shooting us is wrong. I'm like, no, we gotta fight. Like, God.
Well, see, if you go far enough left, you get to the anarchists, and they're also very
them motherfuckers building bombs and shit. But that's what's beautiful, man. Look, there was a real close moment where like the far right and the far left almost got along. It was getting along, finding commonality through the hatred of Jews. But look,
Zionists.
They were
Zionists.
Zionists. Yeah, that's what they were called, Zionists. But they were coming together. And listen, the day that that's a day where I'll be like, man, I love this fucking country, is when you just hear fucking, courtesy of the red, white, and blue, fucking blue-haired motherfuckers, country boys.
Do they play it like punk rock style to get everybody all in the same?
No, you play, listen, that's the one song where it's like, it doesn't matter what genre of music you like, you fuck with that song. Like, it just comes on. You could be deaf. That song comes on, you become patriotic, okay? When we finally come together, when we finally actually wake the fuck up, okay? Because I will give it to liberals. It does seem like they are waking the fuck up and saying, hey, any Democrat leaders that are on this list, fuck them. Like,
yes,
they deserve, yeah, burn them all. You guys need to say, hey, I understand. I do want to be right. I have my values. That's fucking commendable. That's admirable. But At the end of the day, it's about us. It's about, the future generation and saying, hey, this guy is not good for us. Like he is not. He is looking you in the face and saying something that has always been there. You got photos of the guy. You cannot tell me that
he said it out of his own mouth. Like I had a beauty pageant with teenage girls, and I would go through the dressing rooms, beautiful girls, like talking about underage girls.
Right.
Like
it's not something you can pass off as locker room talk, guys. You have to wake the fuck up. You have to understand that Republicans and Democrats, Donald included, he is a Republican. That's the side that he is on. They are divisive figures to keep us apart. So we keep getting poorer. Nothing's fucking changing. Not a fucking thing has changed from Obama to Trump to Biden to Trump. Nothing has fucking changed. You got a little bit of taxes on your overtime,
which are going to be removed
in 3 years when all the other shit that fucking
all the taxes, all the tax breaks for working class people go away.
When your father or your grandpa, goes to the fucking hospital, because this is a new thing coming up that they're going to fucking make it to where like you have to prove your insurance before they work on you at the ER. Some crazy shit. Like, yeah, it's always fuck us, man. It's always fuck us. This shit doesn't ever affect them. And the day you can finally look at that fucking liberal across the street, that liberal can look at you and say, hey, we might not share the same values. We might not share the same morals, ideas. It doesn't fucking matter. They go to work, I go to work, they have kids, I have kids. We want the best for them, and we absolutely understand unequivocally, without a shadow of a motherfucking doubt, those guys are not what's best for them.
Well, and start working on those fucking problems, like the ones that all of us have. And I get, whether you don't like gay people or whether you think gay people need more rights and all this, I get it. I get it all. Like, I understand why people have the feelings they do.
But until you have conversations. You don't just argue back and forth and yell nasty things at each other.
And until you can fucking put a roof over your head and pay for your kids' college or not college or fucking whatever, until things start getting better for everybody, all the people that literally make this country run, until it gets better for them, let's put aside like the stuff that they can get us to fight about 24/7, 365.
100%.
And focus on real people problems.
If people weren't so fucking starved in this goddamn country, we wouldn't have nearly as many. There wouldn't be anger. Like, you wouldn't be like, oh, someone on food stamps, because I get it, man. You're working hard every fucking day to barely get by. You go to Walmart. I was in the same motherfucking boat. Go to Walmart. You see fucking people who ain't working, who fucking whatever, walking out with a buggy full of fucking food. That shit makes you upset. That is not the majority of fucking people. That's not what's holding you back.
That's not what we're going broke for.
That's not what's making us broke. That's not what's increasing the cost of living. That's not what is increasing the goods. Where they talked about the whole time, look, fucking, once again, accountability. Republicans, you guys were like, oh, well, if you increase minimum wage, they're just going to increase the price. They increased it anyways. They increased the cost of goods
preemptively.
Any fucking ways. And if you worked and you got to go home to your family and spend time with them and you had money in your pocket, you would not give a fuck nearly as much as what the next person is doing. But they make that so. They make everything so fucking hard so you cannot realize that we are all being fucked, man, and we are all being fucked by the same people. And the day that two people who do not get along, who have different ideas, the day those people get along historically have been the days where fucking shit happened. And look, I do pray that day comes, but we gotta get off this episode, because look, it's going to be Mike and Dylan Loves Politics again.
No, we'll have to just start putting those in the subscription only, where we just go completely off the rails.
Right. Also, guys, if you just gave us some more submissions for advice,
yes, we'd talk about other things.
Yeah, we wouldn't go off the rails like this. So this is kind of your fault. Okay, I'm gonna gaslight y'all now.
We blame you. I'm
gonna gaslight you now. I'm gonna fucking take a term that a psychologist who went to school for many, many years created, and then women were like, I'm an expert in this. I'm gonna gaslight y'all and say this is y'all's fault that we went off on this tangent, and we will see you next time.
Later.